Today on RVA Grooves, we'll talk to key individuals at the Virginia Film Office that helped bring Spielberg's incredible film Lincoln to Richmond. We'll then head to Richmond's trendy Shockoe Bottom district and have an amazing lunch with Arcadia restaurant owner John Van Peppen. RVA Grooves starts right now. Kelly Lemon, your host for RVA Grooves, standing outside the beautiful Virginia State Capitol. In a minute, we're going to have the unique experience to talk to the team that brought Spielberg's Lincoln to the state of Virginia. We're going to talk to the film office. We're going to talk to the city of Richmond and also talk to the set and design crew about the various locations and vendors that they use to bring Lincoln right here to the state of Virginia. RVA Grooves, all things arts and culture. Standing inside the Jefferson Room in the beautiful state capitol of Virginia with Richard Blankenship. He was the construction coordinator for Spielberg's Lincoln. Richard, talk about your job responsibility as construction coordinator.
Well, as construction coordinator, I'm responsible for getting all the scenery built, organizing everything from greens, trees, the painting, the plaster work, whatever the art department comes up with. I work hand in hand with the art department. I can stand over their shoulders while they're, designing stuff and go, maybe we need to tweak this way or that way. I can build this like this. So we work hand in hand together. We then work with local vendors, Sewers Lumber, Virginia Paint, a lot of the local folks here that supply everything, and we keep it local. I try very hard not to shop out of state, maybe a couple things we have to get from California, some of the studios, but I'd say 95% spent right in Virginia.
Now, how did you get involved with this? How long have you been in this business?
Ooh, a long time. I used to build, and I still build a lot of scenery for plays and operas and things like that. And I always tell people the circus came to town, and they found me, they needed a carpenter. And I worked as a carpenter, I worked as a production assistant, I did a little bit of everything. A little grip, electric, just to try all of it. And then one thing led to another. The business, took off for me, and I traveled a lot out of the state, but done most of my work in Virginia.
Talk about a little bit more, you said you used a lot of local businesses, and that helped Virginia's economic development, and it really impacted our local businesses here. You turned this room right here into something totally different. What vendors did you use, and how did you make the state capitol look like the White House?
Well, we built an incredible facade on the north side of the building. It was full scale of the exterior of the White House. And we used people as far away as Virginia Beach, Norfolk, suppliers. And most of our team of folks working on it, crew-wise, are from Virginia. Some, again, from all over the state.
Big names in this film, of course, not only just Spielberg, but also Daniel Day-Lewis. How was it working with some of the big actors and directors that made this movie possible?
Well, they're all very friendly and I don't want to say, this movie was a little bit different. It was such a serious piece, and Daniel Day-Lewis is a method actor, so it was quite different shooting this.
Well, Richard, thank you for taking the time to talk to us. Construction coordinator for Spielberg's Lincoln. Now standing with Andy Edmonds. He is the Virginia Film Office interim director, correct?
That's right.
Andy, tell us, how did you get Spielberg to shoot Lincoln in the state of Virginia? What did that take?
Well, it really wasn't just me. It was a huge team effort involved. But I've got to say, it's been my pleasure to have worked for the Virginia Film Office for almost 16 years now. Mm-hmm. And over half of my tenure here at the Film Office has been in pursuit of this project. In fact, it took about 9 years. The first the first inquiry for this project was in February of 2003. And to put that in perspective, I now have a 9-year-old son who wasn't even born when we started the quest for this film. And it started out with a simple request about a project from an amazing film director, Steven Spielberg. And we had worked on another project with Mr. Spielberg, Minority Report, Tom Cruise, down in the Chesapeake Bay area. And we also worked on War of the Worlds up around Lexington. So during the production of War of the Worlds, Spielberg had talked about his Lincoln project that was a very important project to him, and we talked about a lot of the scenic beauty in that area and how that would play well into the film. Because the first iteration of the film started out as a much larger film that had many battle scenes and just wide, epic in scope. So the first pass of it back in February of 03 was larger, and we were all over the state looking for locations that would tie into the movie he was trying to make. Over the years, though, the film became more and more focused on a specific area of Lincoln's legacy that he wanted to focus in on. So it changed kind of the locations we were searching for. And we kind of ended up focusing more in on Richmond, Petersburg area and how to tell this story. So it would start out in one phase, and then the film would not start up because Spielberg would start working on another movie. But I would just remain in touch with the producers, always in touch, like what's going on, how can we help, look forward to welcoming you back. And after many, many hours of riding around in a van with clients all over the state, about the 4th or 5th time that it looked like it might get going, the production designer, Rick Carter, they were coming back from doing War Horse in England. And Rick said, it looks like it might actually get going this time. And we're all, by this time, we're a little bit jaded about it. Maybe, maybe not, let's hope so, always. But sure enough, it seemed like it was going to get going, and Spielberg came and scouted himself, and we looked around, and he really fell in love with the locations, and especially right here at the state capitol, and how we were able to basically park trucks around Capitol Square for 18 days and not move them was great value to them. To not have to move the trucks, it's saved a lot of money. And after all, it is show biz, not show fun. It is about putting the dollars on the screen. So once we did the scouting and figured out the logistics of how to do it around Capitol Square, then it really became a team effort of trying to pull together support from the city of Richmond, city of Petersburg, and multiple state agencies. We had agencies, everything from Virginia Department of Transportation, governor's office, obviously a big role. We filmed at the governor's mansion, even Department of Corrections, a lot of property out in Goochland County, Powhatan County, where we had built sets previously for the John Adams miniseries. So we're able to recycle some of those assets and adapt them for this film, use them over again, and make them look right for this movie, and make a very efficient package for Spielberg. And it was the Department of Tourism, the City of Richmond Tourism, everyone pulled together because they knew how important this film would be. And it was not just for the economic impact the film would have when it came to Richmond, because they spent about $35 million on the ground in the Richmond region when they came, which had an economic impact of almost $70 million. So that was part of the big value to it. But really, during the 150th anniversary of the Civil War and Emancipation, to have this film and this story told by such a world-renowned storyteller in Virginia, we feel will have huge economic value in the future for tourism, as people will want to come and learn more about this moment in history. They'll come visit Richmond, come visit Petersburg and Virginia, and learn more about this part of history and spend their tourism dollars and come back for years to come. So that's really the ancillary value that we were looking forward to beyond the production of the film.
They say that Virginia is for lovers, and we always try to treat our guests with some Southern hospitality. How was Spielberg and the rest of their actors' experience here in Richmond, or in Virginia in general?
Well, you know, we like to also say Virginia is for film lovers. And I'm happy to report that Steven Spielberg and the whole crew really embraced the city of Richmond especially, and had a great time. And he personally told me how much he really enjoyed his experience here, great restaurants, walking around Belle Island, and all the things we love to do as Richmonders ourselves. But the thing that he really liked the most were the people. Everyone was really nice to them and gave them the room they needed to make the film. But most importantly, he said at the end of the project, he said that I will be back. So that's what we always like to hear. So they did have a great time. And really, I just like to thank the community, City of Richmond, City of Petersburg, all the surrounding counties, all the agencies that helped us pull this together. especially the governor's office and the legislature that stepped up to the plate with the film incentives we needed as the tiebreaker to really bring this project here. Because the economics have to work. It can't just be the locations. The economic package has to work. So everyone stepped up and made it happen. And if it were not for this great cooperation we do receive from the community and helping us take over parking for a little while and the little inconvenience that can be temporarily, if it weren't for that cooperation, we would not be able to grow this industry in Virginia. And we plan to continue to do that, and we appreciate the cooperation.
Andy Edmonds, Virginia Film Office. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you, Kelly.
Now standing with Alan Rothert. He is the Special Events Coordinator, Film Liaison for the City of Richmond. How do you work with the community to let them understand how big this is for the residents as well?
Right. Well, first of all, it's a long process to notify the neighborhoods, to get everybody to buy in. There's some excitement. There's some resentment. You deal with a little bit of both, but frankly, the whole process of dealing with a big production coming to town is a coordination of city services. The whole idea of attracting a major motion picture is to, especially in Virginia, is to put a carrot on that stick that says this is why you need to do this here. And of course, we did as many in-kind services as we could and put a value on that to attract them. We certainly make it easy. We try to be film friendly here in the city. But there's also the historical value of being in Richmond. I mean, if you want to talk about Lincoln walking through Richmond several days after it was burned, this is where it happened. Yeah. I mean, yes, you can recreate that in another locale somewhere in the country, but here it is historically right at your feet. So.
When you talk about the historic value of it, does that lead other producers and other filmmakers to want to come to Richmond?
Oh, sure.
The big name as Spielberg coming here, how has that helped us maybe attract some more film audiences?
Oh, absolutely invaluable to have Mr. Spielberg work in your community and to leave your community happy with a great experience here, and I think he did. The value of him 2 years later sitting at lunch with somebody and mentioning Richmond as an easy place to work with friendly people. I mean, that's somebody's marketing campaign right there, and that was for free. So yeah, having him here was a big thrill for all of us. I think we handled everything he needed professionally, as we do, because we have a lot of experience in filming here in the city. And I think it's basically like you said, the historical nature of Richmond is the first attraction to a lot of filmmakers because they're looking for authenticity in this age of computer-generated images. To be able to film right there in front of the Capitol where Lincoln was, you know, is an amazing aspect to Richmond. So.
Now, as Special Events Coordinator, I'm assuming that you're bringing much more than just the films here to Richmond. I know we have this little bike race that's coming. What else is in the works for coming to the city?
Well, we just finished the major success Richmond Folk Festival. We had over 200,000 people over 3 days down just several blocks from here on the riverfront. That's hugely successful. It came here after the National Folk Festivals did a 3-year run here in Richmond. And the whole idea there is kind of the Johnny Appleseed approach of the National goes around the country and establishes itself and hopes that the community that hosts it comes up with their own festival, which we did. And we are now the largest folk festival of that kind in the country, bigger than the National in many instances. So we have really grabbed hold of tradition here, and that's what Richmond's all about, is the traditions. Lots of other events. The marathon that we run is one of the top marathons in the country. The 10K is one of the top 10 in the world, I believe, as far as participation is concerned. 30 to 40,000 people running in it. We have lots of festivals, homegrown, that are major traditions. You have to be at them every year. So that's what draws people out, and everybody loves this community and loves how to party at the festivals. So.
And we do have bikers coming into town with the big cycling event coming in 2015, correct?
Every day I try to drum into the people's heads how big this is, because I really don't think anybody has a grasp of what the 2015 World Championships are. It is the Olympics for the world of cycling. The Tour de Pont that we did years ago here in the city kind of set us up as a bike-friendly city. The Tour de France, which is the big signature event for cycling, is all about competition and professional teams. But the World Championships is when all the professional riders go back to represent their countries. So that is a wonderful aspect of it, and it's 9 days of racing. 9 days of major headaches for me, but we'll make it work logistically.
So, Alan, thank you for taking the time to talk to us
No problem.
and continuing to grow our big city. Kelly Lemon, RVA Grooves, all things arts and culture. Standing in the heart of Shockoe Bottom on the corner of 17th and Main, right in front of Arcadia. Today we're going to talk to owner John Van Peppen about his experience when Spielberg's Lincoln came into town. Let's go inside and check out Arcadia. And now we're inside Arcadia and we're talking to the owner, John. John, thanks for having us in your restaurant today.
Kelly, thanks for coming out. We're happy to have you all.
Well, tell us a little bit about how you got started and where you're from.
I originally grew up in New Jersey, but I've been in the restaurant business down here in Richmond for quite a while. I was actually in Shockoe Bottom in 1984. I graduated from University of Virginia, and I started working at a place called Winston Churchill's, or DeFazio's of Churchill's. They renamed it, just 2 doors down from here, back in the mid-'80s. After that, I left my own restaurant down in the Brander Mill area, and then I went to the Museum of Fine Arts, and I was director of restaurant services and catering there for 7 years. I left there, and for the past 7 years, I did Fleming's Prime Steakhouse and Wine Bar in Stony Point Fashion Park. And that was a really great experience for me, a lot of corporate experience, if you will. Then I decided to go out on my own, and we got a hold of this space a year ago last August. So we're just coming up on 1 year anniversary. And we renovated the space. My wife and I came in here, and we had a contractor, and we rebuilt pretty much everything you see, refurbished the building, and we opened about 2 days before Thanksgiving, and here we are.
Well, congratulations
Thank
on
you.
that. Any particular reason why you chose Shockoe Bottom, or was this space just what you wanted?
I had looked at 3 different locations. I think it was kind of interesting for me to come back here since I had the history of already being here before. But it really, it's the space itself. I love the historical aspects of the space. I also needed a private dining space, and above us we have 40 seats, so we can do private dining as well as a la carte dining on the bottom level. The timing was right. The facility was available. It just needed a lot of renovations, so it all came together.
All right. Now, John, also tell me a little bit about your experience with going through this art and culture movement that has taken this wave in Richmond, Virginia. Most people that are from here think this is typical, but this food
All the bar
is not, right?
Yeah, we're seeing a huge resurgence here, and I'm excited to be a part of it. We're contemporary American cuisine. Our chef is Matthew Talusti. He was formerly of Lamani Fish Grill, and he's just doing a great job. So he has the seafood component, and I have the steak component. And we're just glad to be a part of the wave, and what we're seeing down in the Shockoe Bottom area with all the new housing being built, a lot of the restaurants coming down. Just in the year that I've been here, the changes I see, the sheer volume of people coming down here. I know that the market's going to be rebuilt here shortly. They're talking about that, and it's just great to be a part of it.
Now, we're going to taste some of your signature dishes, your signature drinks.
We are.
Tell me a little bit about what's on your menu.
A lot of our menu is focused, as I was saying, it's classic American cuisine, but what's more contemporary. We focus on steak. Braveheart beef is our steak that we're serving. It's Midwest, farm-raised, grass-fed, corn-finished. It's a very small boutique steak. We feel it's better than prime beef. I served a lot of prime beef in my past, and this is just an outstanding cut of meat. Our seafood is in fresh local every day. We're doing a really great, you're going to try a great John Dory fish today, which we're excited about. Just a lot of small plates as well, and just very exciting new cutting edge kind of things we're doing.
All right, well, I'm excited. So
Thank you.
let's start off with the bar.
Okay,
let's talk
great.
to your bartender and get those signature
Okay,
drinks made.
we'll get Mark out here.
So, Mark, what are we going to taste today?
Okay, Kelly, our first drink's going to be the Arcadia Cosmo. We start off with a tin full of ice, half of a fresh lime. I like to hand squeeze it. We get all the juice out and get some of the pulp.
Yeah.
From there, we got a vodka, some Cointreau. Then what we do, a little twist on it, got some mango puree.
Now, Mark, how long have you been bartending?
Oh, forever. I've been behind the bar for, I think it's somewhere around 24 years or something like that. You know, when you get into that long, you just lose count. You get a good vigorous shake.
What meal would this drink particularly go with the best?
Oh, it's just a great way to start your dinner.
Okay, good.
It's a great way to start it off.
So this is definitely before everything else comes.
Yes.
Oh, it looks beautiful.
It's got a great color to it. If you look at it, there's going to be some nice ice flecks on the top, and also the lime pulp will be dancing up there too.
It's nice and refreshing too. And you definitely taste the ice chips
Yep.
in it, and it gives you a little kick too. All right. Very good. Now what's this called again?
That is the Arcadia Cosmopolitan.
Okay. All right. So what's next?
The next is going to be our hot buttered cider.
Oh.
It's delicious, very rich. It's going to take me a second to do that. Okay, Kelly, this is our hot buttered cider.
Oh gosh.
And that is a compound butter that we make. And then what I do is I steam up the apple cider with the butter and melt it all in there, top it off with some whipped cream and that cinnamon stick on a nice fall, winter's evening.
I was just about to say this is the perfect fall
Yeah.
drink. I mean, it is amazing. Not too sweet. You know, you definitely taste and smell the apple first.
Yep.
Very, very good. All right, John, we have some amazing looking appetizers in front of us. What do we have?
What you have is our charred scallops. They're huge diver scallops, and they're on a little potato pancake with a little bit of tomato onion relish on top. What I have is our goat cheese crostini. It has a nice poached egg on top. It has wild mushrooms and onions underneath it there. Little goat cheese on a crostini. This particular item is on our small plates category on our menu. We just consider small plates, maybe not quite that heavy entree, just something nice you can get maybe a little bit later at night or start with. And yours is on what we call our starter or appetizer items on the menu.
Gotcha. Now, while we're trying these, tell me why the name Arcadia and where did it come from?
A couple things. Arcadia in Roman mythology was the land of plenty for man, wine, food, and it was almost heaven on earth, if you will. So we really thought that would be an appropriate name for the restaurant. But also personally for me, Arcadia National Park in Maine, my father used to take myself and my brother camping there all the time.
Gotcha.
And Arcadia always had a special place in my heart. So I knew that one day that I could finally get a restaurant, I would name it Arcadia.
John, everything tastes very fresh. Do you do
Thank
any
you.
local?
We do. One of the great aspects of being here in Shockoe Bottom and on the farmers market is we have our produce vendors right out front. So Chef and I can go out there daily. We can look at what's fresh. We can look at what's great on the market, and we can buy. And one of the great things we've been doing this past summer is Hanover tomatoes, and we've been utilizing them all the way almost just till recently. My wife makes this amazing Hanover tomato cheese pie. It's got 3 different cheeses in it. It's zucchini, yellow squash, and fresh Hanover tomatoes, and we get all that right there on the market. She makes it with a buttermilk crust, and we're getting known for that now. And a lot of the festivals that come down here on the weekends, there's the beer festivals. There was an Oktoberfest festival, and we've been taking advantage of that, and that's just been a lot of fun, bringing the local ingredients to the local festivals.
It's so important. You can taste the freshness.
Yeah. Thank you.
Really good.
Thank you.
All right.
This is our petite filet, and you've got our potato pave with that, and our rosemary sugar snap peas.
All right. Now, we know that this very, very small filmmaker came into town and shot a movie here. Talk about the experience that you had, and particularly the reason we're sitting in this seat right here.
Well, we chose this seat. It was my 4th day open. It was lunch, and Daniel Day-Lewis, I guess, came strolling down the sidewalk, and he had a ski cap on, but he was in the Lincoln garb, the Lincoln character, if you will. And sat right where you're sitting, looked out the window, was reading the book, and a couple of the girls that work here mentioned to me, I think that's Daniel Day-Lewis. And so I went over, and he had the hat off, went over to chat with him, and how is everything? And he was actually having exactly what you're having, petite filet.
Good.
And he mentioned how lovely it was, and right away with his accent and talking about the filming, I knew that, of course, it was Daniel Day-Lewis, but he was in the Lincoln garb, as you can see from the picture. There was a gentleman, as we were chatting, sitting just off to your right, and with his smartphone, he captured the picture. Well, that was the first picture ever taken of Dan Jane Lewis in the Lincoln garb, and so that photo went viral.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, I got 4,000 hits on my website that day.
Wow.
And then it hit the New York Post, which is where this is from. I have relatives over in Holland and Europe. They were calling me that day. Publications, TMZ was on. We were in People magazine. It was an amazing thing for it to happen to us for our 4th day open.
Did no one notice? Did he not want a private space like
No.
you have upstairs?
Yeah, no, not at all. And that was the thing. I guess I didn't even know it was him. But I went back to the table and I mentioned to him that we do have a private room upstairs, and he was very disarming, if you will. He said he said, first of all, John called me John. I'm Daniel, and one first names, and we started talking about the private room. We have a separate entrance. We seat about 40 people up there, and we're doing a lot of rehearsal dinners now. We're doing weddings, corporate functions, pharmaceutical things, and it's gorgeous because there are floor-to-ceiling windows. It overlooks the cityscape, and people just seem to love it. We have the valet parking every night, so it's very convenient, and it works out quite well for groups.
Very good. Well, John, I've had dinner. I feel like it's now time for dessert. I still have my signature
There
drink
you
here
go.
with me, so let's bring on the dessert next.
You got it.
All right. This dessert is so tempting. I kind of want to eat while you tell me what this is, so go ahead and start.
What you have is our fresh pear tart. It has some raspberries on it, and then Gelati Celeste ice cream. It's salty caramel ice cream in the middle. And of course you can see our little Arcadia logo that is our signature. We put on all of our desserts. You have a little bit of a beet powder on there. And then I have our flourless chocolate torte. So it's great for gluten-free folks. And then I have chocolate decadence Gelati Celeste ice cream with mine, and our cocoa powder signature dessert right here. So what do you think?
Oh my God. I don't know what I like best. I don't know if I like the fresh fruit. I don't know if I like the crispy pastry or the ice cream. I mean, the ice cream alone, I could probably eat that by itself.
A lot of folks just come in and get that as well.
It is really, really good. And I continuously get amazed by the fact that Richmond has so many food options and is getting national exposure. Talk about...
There's a lot going on, and we were very fortunate. We've gotten some great reviews locally, but also Urban Spoon just came out. They did a comprehensive list of, I think it was several 100,000 restaurants and upscale restaurants, and they put a list together of the 250 best restaurants in the nation, and we're on that list.
Good.
And that was just phenomenal for us. Folks staying at the local hotels now, they're sending them all down to us, and we've become a dining destination, if you will, for the guests, the tourists that are in town. So it's a lot of fun.
Well, John, the food is amazing.
Thank you.
People need to come experience it.
Thank
Thank you for having us today.
Sure.
Before we end with you, can you tell us where you're located, hours
Sure.
of operation, everything that people need to know to get in contact with you?
Sure. We're at 1700 East Main Street, right at the corner of 17th and Main on the Farmers Market. We're open for lunch daily, Tuesday through Friday, from 11 until 2. We do dinner starting at 5 o'clock, also Tuesday through Saturday. And we close at 10 on Friday and Saturday night. We do Sunday brunch from 11 to 3 every Sunday. So Monday's really the only day that we do not have operations here. And you can reach us on our website, arcadiarichmond.com. You can see photos of the restaurant. We're also on Facebook. And our phone number is 804-417-4005.
Well, I thank you for taking the time once again to talk to us about your amazing restaurant.
Kelly, thanks for coming out. We really appreciate it.
No problem. Kelly Lemon, RVA Grooves, all things arts and culture. Thanks for watching and supporting our first season of RVA Grooves. Make sure to visit rvagrooves.com to view all episodes on demand, and stay tuned for information about season 2.